Imagine this. The day you were born wasn't random. In Buddhist teachings, it's like a karmic fingerprint, revealing who you were before, the lessons you carry, and the destiny you're shaping right now. Picture for a moment the quiet hush of dawn or the vibrant pulse of midnight. Each hour, each day is steeped in meaning. Which day was your birthday? Today, you'll discover the secret map it holds to your past life. Across Asia, monks have long used the day of birth to understand a person's karmic history. In Thailand, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka, even temple statues are placed according to the days of the week, each facing a direction chosen not by chance, but by centuries of spiritual psychology. This isn't mere superstition or tradition. It's a living wisdom, passed down and cherished, a kind of code for the soul. In this journey, we'll explore 7 karmic profiles, one for each day, and uncover what they reveal about your past life, your karmic debts, and the soul lessons you're here to complete. These archetypes are more than personality types. They are echoes of your spiritual ancestry. As you listen, allow yourself to wonder, does this feel like me? Or perhaps the old me from long before this life? Let's begin. And as you listen, ask yourself, which story fits the deep, unspoken currents of your heart? Which lesson feels familiar, as if you've lived it before? Born on a Monday? You are the compassionate healer. Imagine lives spent tending the sick, comforting the weary, or teaching children the ways of kindness. In the Buddhist view, your past life may have been shaped by acts of care. Perhaps a herbalist in a quiet village, a mother whose embrace soothed many, or a monk whose presence brought peace to restless souls. Your present karma revolves around empathy, and your greatest gift is the ability to feel what others cannot say. You sense pain in a glance, joy in a quiet smile, and you rush to ease burdens even before they are spoken. But with this gift comes a challenge. The Buddhist path teaches that compassion, when unboundaried, can create attachment, a sticky web that draws you into cycles of suffering. Perhaps in your past lives, you gave so much that you lost yourself, or found it hard to say no, believing that love meant endless sacrifice. Now, your soul's lesson is to balance giving with wisdom, to know when to help and when to let go. Boundaries are not barriers, but bridges, ways to offer your healing presence without losing your own peace. Notice if you see yourself repeating the same patterns, always the helper, sometimes exhausted, sometimes resentful. This is your karmic echo, and your chance now is to heal not only others, but yourself. Tuesdays are the domain of the fearless warrior. If you were born on a Tuesday, your soul carries the imprint of courage and action. Picture yourself in past lives as a protector, perhaps a soldier standing at the gates, a bodyguard to royalty, or a villager who defended the weak. Your willpower is strong, your spirit bold, and you move through life with a sense of purpose that others envy. In Buddhist stories, the warrior is revered not for aggression, but for the willingness to face fear and do what is needed. Yet the path of the warrior is not without shadow. Courage, when untempered by compassion, can turn to aggression. Strength can become domination. Perhaps you recall moments in this life when your intensity became overwhelming, or when your drive to protect led to conflict instead of peace. The karmic lesson for Tuesday souls is to soften the edge, to remember that true bravery is gentle, and that protecting others begins with understanding their pain. Consider whether you are quick to act, sometimes before listening, whether anger or impatience rise up when things go wrong. These are traces of your old battles, and your challenge now is to blend power with kindness, to be a guardian whose heart is as strong as their sword. Wednesdays belong to the wise messenger. Born on this day, your karma is tied to knowledge, communication, and the sharing of truth. In your past lives, perhaps you were a monk scribbling scrolls, a scholar debating in temple halls, or a messenger riding between kingdoms. Words are your tools, ideas your landscape, and your mind is quick, curious, and ever hungry for more. Buddhism sees the messenger not just as a speaker, but as a bridge, someone who carries wisdom from one world to another. But wisdom has its pitfalls. Knowledge, when carried with pride, can become a source of separation. Perhaps you sense in yourself a tendency toward debate, a love of being right, or a need to be recognized for your intellect. These are karmic shadows, reminders that wisdom without humility is incomplete. The lesson for Wednesday Souls is to share truth with gentleness, to teach without preaching, and to see learning as a lifelong path. If you find yourself frustrated when others misunderstand you, or restless when you cannot explain yourself, remember, the greatest messenger is one who listens first and speaks with the quiet authority of experience. Thursdays are the day of the Dharma seeker. If this is your birthday, your soul is karmically linked to spiritual duty and the pursuit of truth. Imagine past lives spent in meditation, perhaps as a hermit in the forest, a nun chanting mantras, or a student bowing before a wise master. Your present incarnation is drawn to learning, teaching, and the protection of sacred knowledge. You may feel, even now, that ordinary life cannot satisfy you, that somewhere deeper meaning is calling. Yet the path of the seeker carries its own challenge. Buddhism teaches that spiritual wisdom is not meant to be an escape from the world, but a way to live within it. Perhaps you notice a tendency to withdraw, to avoid conflict, or to seek refuge in study rather than action. The karmic lesson for Thursday Souls is integration, to bring your spiritual insights into daily life, to serve others with your wisdom, and to remember that enlightenment is found not only in solitude, but in the heart of community. If you find yourself longing for retreat or feeling different from those around you, let this be your reminder. The journey of the seeker is to walk the road with others, sharing the light you have found. Friday births are the lover of beauty. Your karma is woven with art, pleasure, and the magic of relationships. In past lives, perhaps you were a musician whose melodies lingered in memory, a poet whose verses moved hearts, or a merchant whose wares brought joy to many. You are drawn to beauty in all its forms, color, sound, touch, and emotion, and your presence brings harmony wherever you go. Buddhism honors the lover of beauty not just for aesthetic gifts, but for the reminder that joy is a sacred part of life. But beauty, too, is impermanent. The lesson for Friday Souls is not to cling to pleasure as your source of happiness, but to appreciate its fleeting nature. Perhaps you notice a tendency to chase new experiences, to seek comfort in luxury, or to fear the fading of joy. These are echoes of past attachments, reminders that all forms, relationships, possessions, even art, are transient. The karma of the Friday born is to celebrate beauty, while remembering that true happiness comes from within. If you find yourself disappointed when the sparkle fades, or restless for new delights, pause and ask, what is the lasting joy beneath the surface? This is your soul's invitation to find peace in the midst of change. Saturday is the day of the lone builder. If you were born on a Saturday, your past life karma is tied to construction of cities, ideas, legacies, or systems. Picture yourself as a leader, a strategist, or a founder, someone whose vision shaped the world, often from behind the scenes. In this life, you value stability, order, and long-term planning. You are the one who builds foundations where others see empty ground, who sees potential in chaos, and who turns dreams into reality. But with this power comes a weight. Attachment to control can create heavy karmic burdens. Perhaps you sense in yourself a need to organize, to direct, or to hold on to plans even when life shifts. Buddhism teaches that the builder's challenge is flexibility, to allow change, to trust others, and to let go when structures no longer serve. If you find yourself exhausted by responsibility or frustrated when things slip from your grasp, remember, the greatest legacies are those built with openness and trust. Your karma calls you to balance strength with surrender, to build not only for yourself, but for the good of all. Sunday births are the guiding light. Your soul carries karma linked to leadership, vision, and inspiration. In past lives, perhaps you were a ruler whose decisions shaped nations, a spiritual leader whose teachings moved generations, or a pioneer who blazed new trails. In this life, you feel the call to guide others, to offer direction, and to stand as a beacon in times of uncertainty. Buddhism honors the leader not for power, but for the ability to uplift, to serve, and to hold responsibility with care. The challenge for Sunday souls is humility. Leadership, when touched by pride, becomes a shadow that follows power. Perhaps you notice moments when you crave recognition, or when your confidence slips into arrogance. These are karmic echoes, reminders that true guidance comes from service, not self-aggrandizement. The lesson is to lead with kindness, to listen to those you serve, and to remember that every light casts a shadow. If you find yourself resisting advice or feeling isolated at the top, allow this wisdom to soften your heart. Your karma asks you to be both strong and gentle, to guide with love, and to remember that the greatest leaders are those who walk beside, not above. Whatever day you were born, it's not about being better or worse. In Buddhism, karma isn't a prison. It's a map. It shows where you've been, so you can choose where to go next. The day of your birth whispers your soul's old story and invites you to write a wiser one now. These archetypes are invitations, not destinies. They call you to reflect, to notice your patterns, and to choose growth. The compassionate healer learns self-care. The fearless warrior, gentleness. The wise messenger, humility. The Dharma seeker, engagement. The lover of beauty, detachment. The lone builder, flexibility. And the guiding light, service. Consider your own life. What patterns repeat? What lessons return again and again, asking for your attention? The Buddhist view of karma is not fatalistic. It is hopeful. Your past life has shaped you, yes, but every day is a new chance to choose differently, to act with awareness, and to create new possibilities. The day of your birth is a reminder that your soul's journey is long and rich, but never finished. You are the author of your own story, gifted with the wisdom of ages, and empowered to change your course. If this insight made you curious about your past life, take a moment to reflect. Which day were you born? What lessons have shaped you? What patterns do you see in your relationships, your choices, your dreams? Share your birthday, and let's see how many of us travel the same karmic path. You may find kindred spirits, echoes of your own journey, and inspiration for the road ahead. Remember, your karma is your teacher. Learn well. Every moment, every choice is a chance to move beyond old stories, to awaken compassion, clarity, and courage. The wisdom of Buddhist teachings is not to bind you, but to set you free. Free to live with purpose, to heal what needs healing, and to shine as only you can. Your soul's journey didn't start here, but it can change starting today. Let the map of your birth guide you, but let your heart choose the way. The past is a lesson, not a fate. Walk forward with awareness and hope, and become the person your soul has always longed to be.